Lesson 14, Fact and Opinion. From a vice presidential debate, Joe Biden, 2012. The middle class will pay less, and people making $1 million or more will begin to contribute slightly more. Let me give you one concrete example, the continuation of the Bush tax cuts. We're arguing that the Bush tax cuts for the wealthy should be allowed to expire. Of the Bush tax cuts for the wealthy, $800 billion of that goes to people making a minimum of $1 million. We see no justification in these economic times for those. And on top of that, they got another tax cut coming that's $5 trillion that all of the studies point out, in fact, $250,000 a year, $250,000 a year to those 120,000 families, and raise taxes for people who are middle income with a child by $2,000 a year. This is unconscionable. There is no need for this. The middle class got knocked on their heels. The Great Recession crushed them. They need some help now. The last people who need help are 120,000 families for another $500 billion tax cut over the next 10 years. From Joe Biden's remarks, Vice Presidential Debate, October 11, 2012. A debate has grown in the United States between defenders and critics of the Electoral College system. Some critics contend that the system has become outdated due to changes in the U.S. government over time. Originally, the founders planned for the nation's government to take the form of a republic, in which citizens elected officials to govern for them. Over time, however, the government has evolved into a democracy, in which elected officials are expected to govern according to the wishes of the people. Additionally, critics argue that the Electoral College system can result in a candidate's winning the presidency while losing the popular vote. This has occurred in 3 presidential elections. Critics believe that this thwarts the will of the majority. From President Barack Obama's State of the Union Address, February 12, 2013. Guide A, the first paragraph states a fact. There are several sources you could check to verify that this information is accurate. Already, the Affordable Care Act is helping to slow the growth of health care costs. And the reforms I'm proposing go even further. We'll reduce taxpayer subsidies to prescription drug companies and ask more from the wealthiest seniors. We'll bring down costs by changing the way government pays for Medicare, because our medical bills shouldn't be based on the number of tests ordered or days spent in the hospital. They should be based on the quality of care that our seniors receive. I am open to additional reforms from both parties, so long as they don't violate the guarantee of a secure retirement. Our government shouldn't make promises we cannot keep, but we must keep the promises we've already made. To hit the rest of our deficit reduction target, we should do what leaders in both parties have already suggested and save hundreds of billions of dollars by getting rid of tax loopholes and deductions for the well-off and well-connected. After all, why would we choose to make deeper cuts to education and Medicare just to protect special interest tax breaks? How is that fair? Spotlighted item, fill in the blank. The main problem with the Electoral College is that it builds into every election the possibility that the president will be a candidate who lost the popular vote. The Electoral College also heavily favors small states. The fact that everyone gets 3 automatic electors, 1 for each senator and a House member, means states that by population might be entitled to only 1 or 2 electoral votes wind up with 3, 4, or 5. The majority does not rule and every vote is not equal. Those are reasons enough for scrapping the system. But there are other consequences as well. A few swing states take on oversized importance, leading the candidates to focus their attention, money, and promises on a small slice of the electorate. During presidential elections, the National Democratic and Republican parties have many responsibilities. The national parties must plan conventions, coordinate presidential debates, and assist their candidates in fundraising efforts. The national political parties also have the authority to refuse to acknowledge state delegates who they believe were chosen inappropriately. While the Democratic Party awards state delegates to candidates based on the percentage of the popular vote they received in the primary or caucus, the Republican Party allows states to choose either proportional representation or a winner-take-all plan. Under such a plan, the winning candidate of a state's primary or caucus receives all of that state's delegates. In the presidential election of 2000, Democratic candidate Al Gore won the popular vote. Yet it was Republican candidate George W. Bush who took the oath of office as president a couple of months later. With neither candidate having enough electoral votes to win, the election came down to which of the candidates would win Florida's electoral votes. When a machine recount resulted in only a 327-vote lead for Mr. Bush, Mr. Gore demanded a manual recount. The Bush team objected. During the weeks that followed, a series of lawsuits ensued. Mr. Gore attempted to continue the recount, but Mr. Bush wanted to stop the recount while he was ahead. After Mr. Gore received a favorable ruling on the recount from the Florida Supreme Court, Mr. Bush asked the U.S. Supreme Court to decide the question once and for all. In an unsettling 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court stopped the recount, stating that it was unconstitutional. By doing so, the court handed George W. Bush the presidency. The court also guaranteed that the final vote count would never be known officially. In September 2012, the New York City Board of Health approved a ban on the sale of oversized, sugary drinks in New York City. Although the ruling was an attempt to improve the health of New Yorkers, many people believed that it was an attack on individual rights. When the ban was struck down in March 2013, an irritated Mayor Michael Bloomberg said the city would appeal the decision. This is an excerpt from his statement. If we are serious about fighting obesity, we have to be honest about what causes it, and we have to have the courage to tackle it head on. 70,000 people will die of obesity in America this year. 5,000 people in New York City will die of obesity. Now, the best science tells us that sugary drinks are a leading cause of obesity. Some people say, just talk about the problem, raise awareness, and hope that results in change. But it's not enough to talk, and it's not enough to hope. We have a responsibility as human beings to do something, to save each other, to save the lives of ourselves, our families, our friends, and all of the rest of the people that live on. And so while other people will wring their hands over the problem of sugary drinks, in New York City, we're doing something about it. From Bill Clinton's closing remarks at the presidential debate, October 19, 1992. I offer a new approach. It's not trickle-down economics, it's been tried for 12 years, and it's failed. More people are working harder for less, 100,000 people a month losing their health insurance, unemployment going up, our economy slowing down. We can do better. And it's not tax and spend economics. It's invest and grow, put our people first, control healthcare costs and provide basic healthcare to all Americans, have an education system second to none, and revitalize the private economy. I want a country where people who work hard and play by the rules are rewarded, not punished. I want a country where people are coming together across the lines of race and region and income. I know we can do better.